Joining me today is Domenic Caloia, Customer Success Manager, and he is going to show us how to implement coaching. So without further ado, Domenic, I will let you take over.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Let me share my screen here. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking time out through your day to watch this presentation. If you have not seen me give this presentation before, because I have done this before, then you're going to hear some interesting things about this technology that you probably won't hear from any other vendor. We're going to be talking about how to do coaching in a remote distance learning type of fashion. That's why I say it's at scale. And another reason why I say at scale is some vendors that implement this technology, it doesn't really scale very well. And we're going to get into that as well. Let's start off with, what are we talking about when we talk about video coaching? And obviously, from the title, it involves videos. So here, what you're looking at right now is the learner is going to watch a brief video that is asking them to do something. So this video is something the company will create, push out to the employees, and there's many ways of doing that. We'll touch upon that a little bit later on. But now the organization pushes out a video, and the video would say, here's the situation, and this is what we want you to do. In the sales situation, it could be you're encountering a prospect who you're connected to via a web link for the very first time, and you have to introduce product ABC. So the situation would be initial contact via the web, and then the ask, the challenge will be, we want to see how you will present this product. If it's leadership training, the situation might be something like there's a dispute between two people in two different departments in the organization. Each one is pointing the finger at the other. You're the manager. How would you proceed? It's like, okay. When you're asking them, how would you proceed? How would you introduce the products? It brings us up to step 2. The employee will then record themselves responding to that situation in that context. So you as a manager or a training manager or a subject matter expert in the organization can then see how is Dom's performance. Now, recording the video has an interesting benefit to it. The employee records the video, watches it, and then decides, do I want to submit it or do I want to try again? So one of the benefits of this technology is if an employee is going to be asked to submit a video of their performance and they can watch it and retry it, then the employee can practice in their own safe space as many times as they want. And if they are practicing something, the performance is improving. In reality, if you're asking your employees to practice before meeting up with the manager or the training manager or coming to a training class, how many people will actually practice? Some will, but life happens, workload gets heavy, they have their best intentions, but a lot of people are going to come into the training class or meet with the training manager not fully prepared, and that costs the organization money. So right away from this, using a platform like this as part of your training process, employees will practice more, employees will get better, and you're going to reduce the on-training costs. And the third part of it is, now as a manager, once I've watched the employee's performance, I can reply in a variety of ways. And typically, I could record myself as a manager, saying, Stephanie, I asked you to do something at the last minute, and this is true, I did today, and you responded immediately in a positive way, fantastic attitude, and you got the job done on time. Excellent, I love that. Very often, this platform will let the manager also put some text feedback, and you're seeing that in the little example here on the slide. And sometimes even if you've supplied some sort of a grading criteria or grading rubric, you could provide an actual numerical score as well. So what I've just summarized, and I've given you an overview of the basic technology in any video coaching platform. Applications, there are many applications that I'm showing you on the slide. So as you're looking at this slide, if some of these resonate with you, just drop them in the chat so we could see from each other, what applications you might be thinking this technology applies to, whether it be leadership development, sales training, customer support. Now, what's interesting on this slide, some items I have some yellow text. These are things that aren't necessarily going to be available in every single video coaching platform. So for example, social sharing, really, as part of a video coaching platform, they're not all going to have that. Audio only. So if you're running a call center, lots of times they say, well, our employees, they don't want to see themselves on video. They don't want to record themselves. They're in a voice-only environment, so they want to have the ability of just submitting audio only. Some platforms have that. Screen sharing, that's also not available in every single platform. A mobile app. And so that's some of the things. If any of those things pop out to you or resonate with you, drop those in the chat as well. Now, here's a case study. Verizon found they realized a 749% return on investment by using our platform, our video coaching platform. And let's take a look at these columns on the right. I hope no one here is in the first column. That's the gray column, and it says employees receive no training whatsoever. Now, this is sales training. Employees receive no sales training, and the results a negative $871 in new revenue per sales employee. Negative revenue. That kind of makes sense. If you don't train a salesperson, they're not going to be too good, and revenue is going to be way low. So hopefully no one here is in this column. The second column is something that we might have a lot of people resonating with. Employees receive training, but no video coaching. Just the standard, traditional sales training. Their results, $3,802 in new revenue per sales employee. Now, what's interesting about this category is if your company is operating in this fashion, we train salespeople, we're not using a video coaching platform, our salespeople are generating revenue, you may not know that you need a video coaching platform. Why? You're making money. Hey, you're making money, you think everything is good? Really? But look at Verizon, who used our video coaching platform, which is called Rehearsal. When they implemented it, they found that each employee, instead of generating $3,802, it generated $6,494. That's close to double what employees did without the video coaching, which makes you wonder if you recognize your company is operating in that middle column. It makes you wonder how much money are we leaving on the table? And when you factor in, it's not just the dollars coming in, but the market share. The more you sell, the more market share you control. So something to think about. Benefits include, I touched upon the employee practice, but personal coaching, I love, and this is going back for years. One of my specialties is creating learning experiences that are personalized to the user. And what I like about our Rehearsal platform is that you can provide, well, actually any video coaching platform has a certain level of personalized coaching. If I, as a manager, can watch Stephanie's performance and I could coach her as to her strengths, her weaknesses, company standards, here's the bar we'd like you to reach, and provide constructive feedback to her. And that, if I could do that per employee, some employees get a lot of coaching, some employees get less coaching. Each person is going to get coached in the areas of strength and weakness. So that's where the personalized coaching comes in. It doesn't get any better than that. Putting out a SCORM course, putting out a PDF or a training manual where everyone gets the same information, it's not going to be as effective as you could personalize it. Remote coaching at scale, yeah, the fact that this is based on video and it's distributed over the internet, that's fantastic. And I could go on and on and on with these other items. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to jump down to the bottom. Documenting performance. This is a benefit that maybe not too many people have thought of, but if I have videos of employees and how they're performing on different tasks, I now have a digital library of an employee's performance. This can be used for employee reviews. This can be used to evaluate whether someone is a good candidate for a change in position within the company or advancement within the company. And if there's any question or any challenge, from the employee, you just refer back to a recorded video and there's the evidence of performance. So a lot of interesting uses that HR departments may be very interested in. Another case study from Paychex. Employee retention up 8%, revenue up 10%, competency up 41%. All those are good things going up, but then there's a negative. Travel costs, that went down. So when we want to consider return on investments, if you could deploy video coaching in your training process and have the good things increase and the bad things decrease, that's going to contribute to a good bottom line and return on investment. Now, here's a problem. A lot of vendors that have a video coaching platform probably won't talk to you about problems, but I'm going to talk to you about problems because ELB Learning has the protocol rehearsal and it's got the solution to these problems. But one of the problems is a complex task. Now, whether this be in a leadership training or sales training, but very often what the employee needs to do, the process is complex. The first step may be just to listen and to what is taking place, whether it be a situation in a leadership situation, whether it be with a sales prospect is saying to you, listen, and then repeat what you think you heard and make sure is like, from what I just heard, you're saying, repeat it and just confirm that you did understand correctly. That could be just the first step. The second step then could be to suggest a solution. Then you have to ask the people involved, did they understand and are they willing to accept the solution? And then you end up with next steps. I mean, that could be a lot to practice. So let's say you're an employee and the organization says, well, we got this complex situation. We'd like you to practice it, record yourself on video. You start recording yourself and you get step 1 done, you get step 2 done. On step 3, you make a mistake. So you say, oh, I made a mistake, I'm going to do it over again. And then the second try, you do step 1 correctly, then you make a mistake on step 2. Oh, I got to start all over again. To get a process that is a little bit involved and is a little wordy, and it takes a little time to perform. It's so many areas of making a mistake. Trust me, I've been there. Okay, you're trying over and over and over again to make that perfect pitch, to go through the entire scenario in the perfect way, and you keep stumbling and having to redo it over and over and over again. The problem with this is, in a complex situation, your employees will not want to use the video coaching platform. The solution, micro-learning. You guys are L&D professionals. You've all heard of micro-learning. So what if we took that complex situation and broke it down into not one video, but several videos? Stephanie, practice your opening. Stephanie, practice confirming what you heard. Stephanie, practice providing a solution. And so on and so forth, step by step. Okay, doing it that way, it breaks it down to small steps. It's easy for the employee. Problem solved. And it would look something like this. Each step would be broken down into a small micro-learning bite, and each step would ask the employee to just submit a video on that one piece. Now that the piece is short, it's easy for the employee to practice a little bit and very quickly get confident enough to submit it to you as the organization manager. The problem with that is now, as a manager, from each employee, you're getting a lot of videos. So in this graphic that I'm showing right here, the red circles, I actually took a little image of a camera lens and colored it red. So that symbolizes that each one of those micro-learning bits is going to generate a video that goes to the manager. So the problem is organizational overload. The manager is going to say, I'm not dealing with this. Who's got time to look at 5 or 6 videos for each employee? And I got 20 or 30 employees that I'm managing and training. It's like, I haven't got time for this. So if the manager's not going to want to use it, then it's not a good video coaching solution at all. The solution that Rehearsal from ELB Learning provides is, what if we could automate the process? And those green check marks are not circles indicating a video going to the manager. But if each micro-learning piece can be completed without a video going to the manager, and at the end of the long process, a video goes to the manager, and the manager can see not only the final video, but all the other videos that the employee practiced, oh my gosh. Now, as a manager, I'm not overburdened. As a manager, I can see all of the practice and all of the performance the employee did at each step of the way. And I could see actually the improvement and the growth and the improvement in performance of the employee from beginning right through all the subparts right to the end. I have a tremendous amount of information, a tremendous amount of data from which I can provide coaching and feedback to the employee, and yet I'm not getting pinged every 10 minutes that another video has come through. How do we do this? So now I'm showing you some specifics from the Rehearsal platform, where each video you have as an administrator, when you set this program up, you have an option. The employee video, you want it to auto-complete. That means the employee practices submitting a video, and if they're practicing, they're getting better, and then they submit it to you. You don't have to review it. You as a manager don't get interrupted, but the employee says, well, if this is done, now I can go on to the next micro-learning part. So that's the auto-complete. Another one is called self-grade. Now, why would you want to have an employee grade themselves? So you allow me to grade myself. I've been in this industry for a long time. I think I got this nailed. I'm pretty confident. I grade myself 100 or 95. Now you watch my video and you go, Dom, we love your video. You did a lot of good things, but there's that but. At the end, we wanted you to close with next steps, and we wanted them to be on SMART goals, achievable, and at a certain time and stuff like that. It's like, but you didn't. We'd like you to try it again. It's like, oh, so I wasn't as good as I thought I was. I need to know that, and you as my manager need to know that. Now Stephanie submits a video, and she grades herself 75. And as the manager, you look at Stephanie's video, you go, oh my gosh, you go, Stephanie, you did fantastic. I go, do you realize you're in the top 5% of the company? It's like, can we share this out with other employees so they can see the way it's supposed to be done? Great job. Okay, some employees are going to need their confidence bolstered, and some that think they're hotshots in the company may need to be reminded there's always some area for improvement. So self-grade can be a valuable tool for you as a manager to coach your employees to peak performance. Text analysis, I love it. Okay, that's where AI generates a transcript, analyzes the transcript, and then decides pass, fail. Did they use the right words? Did they avoid the wrong words? And then based upon pass, fail, you could branch out and get additional training and stuff like that. So now we got actually a personalized learning path. It's automated with AI, but ultimately, somewhere in the video coaching learning path, you're going to want to use the mentor feedback, where it actually goes to the mentor. And in our platform, like I said earlier, the mentor not only gets that one video at the end, but they'll get all the other practice videos as well. So what I just talked about for a complex situation, a complex process, step one could be ask questions. I would use autocomplete to move it right along. Step two, confirm that you understood what the situation was. I may use text analysis, let them review some additional training if they fail, and then let them grade themselves. Present a solution, I may let them grade themselves. Find agreement and get buy-in from the people involved. I may use text analysis. They could review and take it again. And then next steps, I'll have them self-grade. And then what I might do is I might introduce a peer review. Now, look at what's happened through this process. Through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, the employee has recorded themselves 5 times. For each recording, they practice it multiple times. Rehearsal users typically practice 5.5 to 6 times before submitting a video. Then, after they've gotten so much better, what do we do next? We set up a peer review, where if I have a cohort of 12 people, the 12 people submit their videos, not to the manager, they send it to the same 12 people, and now each employee is giving feedback to each other. And what's that going to do? It's going to help them learn from each other. And then finally, we have them submit a video to their mentor in the organization. I got to tell you, if I was a training manager, I would love this process. Because now, instead of getting videos from people who have read a PDF or taken a SCORM course and are trying to do something for the first time, I am seeing videos of people that have practiced many, many times, each individual part as a micro-learning part. I've seen videos of employees who have gotten peer feedback from each other and have gotten better from that. So now, instead of me having to train on the A, B, C, and D's, I'm at the X, W, Y's, and Z's of the training process. And we've saved so much time. We've saved the organization so much money. And we've gotten our employees in a shorter amount of time up to peak performance. Wow. Okay. If I wasn't sold on this already, right now, I'd be sold on it now. Here's an example of how this would be delivered from an LMS. So from an LMS, I would provide a SCORM-based course and then ask them to do step 1 and record their video. I do another SCORM-based course and add them to record a video. And so the same workflow that I showed earlier, this is showing how you would introduce micro-learning SCORM pieces, and after each SCORM piece, ask them to record a video. And that's how this would look. And I know a lot of people use articulate storyline. Here's how this would look in storyline. Now, the previous example, this is just using an LMS. I don't care whether you're using Lectora, Storyline, Captivate. I don't care how you're creating your content. It doesn't even have to be SCORM. If you're putting up a webinar training, if you're putting up a PDF training, SCORM-based courses, whatever type of training you're delivering on an LMS, you could intersperse the traditional training you're already doing with links to a video coaching session. And this is how that would look delivered from an LMS. But here, I'm showing how would this look if I delivered video coaching right from inside a SCORM-based course. So here's one SCORM-based course. Here's the flow chart from Storyline. And you'll see on each slide, having them train on something. They could be watching a video, they could be engaging in interaction, reading some text, whatever. For each slide, it's launching out to recording a video in the platform. Now, in this example, I have a video recording coming from every single slide, but in reality, you may have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slides of learning content before you trigger a link to a recording. It doesn't have to be one recording per slide. It could be one recording per 5 or 6 slides. That's totally up to you. But just to keep things concise, I'm showing 1-to-1. So here and then here we got the peer review I've got here, the mentor feedback I've got right here. So you can see how you can easily integrate video coaching into your current work process. How are we doing time-wise, Stephanie?
We are doing great.
Okay, I'm moving right along. So it looks like we're going to have good time for some Q&A at the end. But deployment options. So with rehearsal, I don't know if any other platform that has a dedicated app, but we have a dedicated app for Android and iOS systems, phones and tablets. That's an option if that's of interest to you. Take the phone anywhere, take it into a field, zoom in on equipment, whatever the case may be. You can really get very creative with the app. But basically, rehearsal and most of the video coaching platforms will work on any web-based system. What I just showed you is I showed you an example of how to integrate coaching on an LMS level and also integrate it on a course level. And one thing that I know, because I've been doing instructional design for many years, is very popular, is role plays. So when you're doing a role play, I love role plays. I've done some very sophisticated role plays in my time with many, many characters involved. I love doing them, and it's very effective. The information you get back from the LMS is minimal. Okay, they completed it. Okay, maybe you got a score attached to it. Okay, if you're really a good instructional designer, maybe you figured out how to track right and wrong responses and you could actually count how many times they provided a wrong response versus how many times they provided a correct response. Maybe you could track how much time they spent in the role play. Valuable metrics to get to know how confident the employees are with the process. But whatever you can do in a scoring-based role play, it's not as good as actually asking them in this role play. You've spoken to the department manager. You've spoken to the VP of sales. You've spoken to the IT manager. You've spoken to the chief financial officer on trying to make the sale. Now you're going to meet with the CEO. Okay. You've made it through the role play, overcoming objections with all those different people in the organization. Now, the CEO says to you, why should I go with you? And now you got to record your response. So you could do your role plays the same way you always do the role plays, but anytime you actually want to see an employee responding live in front of you, just create a link to the video coaching platform. So benefits include, I think this is the same list I had up there before. Maybe throw into the chat what things here resonate with you. But I think I have another yes. Okay, a word about this poll. Stephanie, launch the poll, but I have to give credit where credit is due. Okay, I gave this quite a while back, and Stephanie, she's really good at her job. She checked me, Dom, do you have any polls? I go, no polls, no polls, no polls. I was reviewing this 10 minutes before launch time, and I say, I got a poll here. So I asked Stephanie, oh my gosh, I do have a poll. I don't blame you if it's too late. I gave it to her at the last minute, and positive attitude. She said, no problem. I got it done for you. It's ready to go. So if you're looking at the poll, it's thanks to Stephanie working at the last minute. I have to give credit where credit's due. So maybe throw a little emotion or a little thumbs up there, a little clapping hands or something. And that goes for Stephanie for getting this job done. So how are we doing with this poll?
All right, yeah, we've got some pretty varied answers so far. I'm going to leave it open for a few more seconds because I see a lot of you have not responded yet.
Okay.
And, come on, everyone. I worked really hard on getting this poll in.
Yeah.
Some people are saying in the chat that they do multiples of these. So if you do multiples, go ahead and just kind of share that info in the chat.
Well, you could check. Do you have this set up where they could check all that apply?
I did not.
My fault. Okay, I probably did not specify that.
Our
Okay.
last minute polls um, didn't do it quite right, but it'll give us enough feedback. Yeah. Give it just a couple more seconds for those responses to come in. And yeah, if you're doing multiples of these, or if there are other answers that you think your training is missing, just put that in the chat. Okay, I am going to go ahead and reveal the results. So if you can see that there, it is
Okay, so this is interesting. Since they could only click on one, and a lot of people are saying multiples, one thing that's interesting is for those that said our training is missing more than one, that means there really is a strong need for implementing video coaching the way I've described it. What I also noticed from this is peer reviews. Not a single person has selected that the training process is missing peer reviews. And I have to wonder why. And maybe someone can, when we have the Q&A, if there's time, discuss that with me. But as part of a training process, having peer reviews, it's great for a couple of reasons. Number one, each employee is going to have their own perspective, and you never can tell what someone's going to say. So, when I'm talking to people, I always like getting ideas from multiple people. So, me as an individual, I learn from that. But from the organization's point of view, if you can set up peer reviews, especially if it's online and doesn't cost the organization a lot of effort or a lot of money, okay, this is a great way to advance employee performance without any work or overhead on the organization's part. So interesting that no one selected that they're missing that, or maybe others were of more importance, and that's why no one actually selected that as the primary. So very interesting feedback. We can close that. And let's see. So the rehearsal is the name of the product from ELB Learning. We've got major companies using it. The next steps would be use the link here to schedule a actual demo. You can ask in-depth questions and see how it would apply to your specific scenario. In the PDF that you'll get from this, you'll have my email address is on the front slide. You can always reach out to me for more information or just for some brainstorming. I love to brainstorm and discuss new ideas with people. And with that, Q&A time.
All right. So any questions, you can put those in the chat or the Q&A panel. I will say, Dom, regarding the peer review, it was interesting because when you were talking about that section, there was a little bit of a conversation in the chat about that works best if you have a lot of trust in your team. And so maybe that might be part of the reason some people didn't select peer review. And then Patricia also said they're doing peer review, but others were more important, other options from the poll. So that's why they didn't select that one.
That's what I thought might be the case. Now, with the peer reviews, what I would suggest is if I had a cohort, we'll make up a number. I've got a cohort of 20 people and I want to set up a peer review. I, as the manager, I could be in that review group. So I've got 20 people submitting videos to the same 20 and me, which means, I could jump in and see those, and just knowing that the manager is in the peer review group, it's like, ooh, I'm submitting a video. My manager might see this. And when I submit a feedback to somebody, my manager might see that too. So it sort of like keeps them on their toes, so to speak.
Yeah, make sure that they're giving good feedback and not just saying that sucks. Do better. Okay, couple questions. You mentioned role plays earlier. Is there an option for recording that includes two individuals role playing together?
Okay, that is a good question. We're making a lot of advancements in this technology, and I'll mention two things. On the downside, I did try out one program from a vendor that tried to use AI to simulate a dialogue between the computer and me. And it was not acceptable for me. Now my standards, admittedly, may be a little on the high side, but I used to do a lot of sales training, and it's like at one point I actually typed into the system, I'm the customer. You're not the customer. You're the salesperson. I said something, and they got the roles totally reversed. Like that's totally a disaster. But now on the positive side, what you could do is you could say if you got people that are in proximity, like in the same room, or even if they jumped onto a webinar together, your assignment could be, I want you to work with someone on your team. I want you to be the salesperson. I want the other person to be the customer. And now that I've defined the two roles, record the two of you trying to sell this product. So now Stephanie and I we're doing one recording with Stephanie and I. This is actually pretty neat because you can actually give feedback to two employees at the same time. Okay, I'm the salesperson. Steffi is the customer. Her job is to ask me questions about the product, throw objections when I try and close the sale. My role is to introduce the product. Now, my role may be just to introduce the product. In another assignment, my role may be to ask for their feedback. In another role, my ask may be to actually try and sell the product or set up an appointment for a demo. So you could actually have several videos involving two people. The two people are role playing with each other. Now you've got that random element. I have no idea, what question Stephanie's going to ask me next. She has no idea how I'm going to steer the conversation and how I'm going to respond. I may give her a response. She's going to say, well, that doesn't make sense. That I don't understand that. How's that going to work for me? We're a very small company. It's like, oh my gosh. All right. So you can actually record the videos of two people. The two people can be in the same room, no problem. You turn on the camera, you both step in front of the camera. Or with rehearsal, you could record the screen. So now if we're on a Zoom meeting and you record the screen of the Zoom meeting, okay. So out of the two people, one person would submit the video, but as a manager, you could actually see two employees practicing both ends of the roles. And then you could ask the employees to switch roles. So each one gets a chance to be the salesperson and the customer.
All right, thank you. And then we have one more question. Do we take into consideration options for people who aren't comfortable recording themselves and maybe aren't quite activating like the right emotions because they don't like watching video of themselves? What are the options there?
Well, one of the options I mentioned earlier is to have them submit an audio only, which brings up, how do you introduce this to your organization for the first time? So let's say I'm working for the company for a while, and all of a sudden they tell me, all right, we want to see you responding to this situation. It's like fear factor sets in. It's like you've never asked to see my video before. Okay. And especially if I'm working remote and I don't have face-to-face contact all the time. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, now I got to record myself. You're going to watch me. Now, what if you don't like my performance? Okay. Am I going to get fired? I mean, a lot of fear can take place. So you may want to introduce the fact that, we've got an exciting, new program here. Let's practice it out. Tell us about your favorite vacation. So now it's like, oh, I'll tell you about my favorite vacation. That's not a problem. Okay. You start off gently. So I get used to the technology. Once I get used to the technology, do something else that's not so challenging, not so threatening. So for salespeople, run a contest. How would you describe this product? How would you overcome the price objection for this service? And record your video, and we're going to pick the best 3 responses and give you guys free Amazon gift cards. Okay. So now it's like, well, no one's judging me. No one's criticizing me. No one's giving me feedback. It's not part of my employee performance review, But sure, man, I'll give it a shot, to get a $25 Amazon gift card. And you may even say, have fun with it, joke around and stuff like that, change the backdrop, whatever. It's like, just make it lighthearted and fun and gradually introduce this into the training process so people feel comfortable, recording themselves. You can have someone not record themselves, not record the video and just do the audio if that's the work, if that works for you as well. Anything
Right.
else?
And the nice thing is, the employee can record themselves as many times as they want before they pick their final submission and actually submit that one to the mentor for grading. So it's not a one and done, unless you use the hot seat feature.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, so we have something that I call a certification, but in the platform it's called a hot seat. That's where we turn the practice off. You cannot practice. So how does that work? The employee watches the video, asking them to do something. It's like, Dom, we want you to introduce the new net experience score that you're coming out with. And as soon as I as an employee finish watching the video, my camera kicks in. 3, 2, 1, it starts recording. I can't control it. I can't start the recording. I can't stop the recording. As soon as they ask me to do something, my camera kicks in. I got to record. I click the stop button and it automatically gets submitted. So this is good for when someone has been doing a lot of practicing and it's like, Dom, you're looking good. You're looking really good. Really? Do you know how many times I practiced that? We don't track that. Do you know if I had Post-it notes plastered all over the screen and I was reading from a script? Oh, we don't, know about that. So then, turn on my camera off. So then we have a hot seat feature where you click one button, you turn the practice off, and it's like, Dom, let's see how you sell this to a customer. 3, 2, 1, the camera kicks in and I'm live. So if I do good then I'm ready to go live with customers. If I could do it with no practice, I'm ready.
So lots of different options depending on your training needs, your employees' comfort with the video features, and a lot of options. All right, do we have any more questions? We'll give everyone a minute if they have any more questions that they want to put in. Otherwise, I did post a link to the webpage for rehearsal if you want to learn more about it. And as Don said, we'll be sending out his slides with the recording. And there'll be a link in there if you want to schedule time with Dom to talk more about this, to get kind of a personalized demo, dig into the features more, see how it could work for your company. And it looks like those are all the questions. Well, thank you so much, Domenic, for sharing this with us. And thank you to all of our attendees for joining us today. It was great to have you all. You were a fantastic audience. And hopefully we'll see you on another webinar soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye all.